Welcome to the Health Reflections podcast, a podcast dedicated to exploring the world of anti-cancer living and empowering you to take control of your health. I'm Finola, your host and guide on this transformative journey towards a vibrant and resilient life. Join me for solo episodes and conversations with wonderful guests. I am beyond excited that you're here, so let's dive in. Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Health Reflections podcast. I know it has been a very, very long time since I uploaded the last episode. Recording the podcast really brought me a lot of joy, and it's a project that I really want to do the right way. And with all of the things that I have, I just couldn't manage on my own. So that's why it has been quite quiet around here. But I evaluated some things and I found a podcast manager, and she's going to help me out. We are going to do a trial month, which is quite exciting. So we just set some goals for this project, and we're going to test some things out to see if it works, if it doesn't work, and how we could do maybe better, and later on evaluate how much time I can invest on this, and also money. So yeah, I'm excited to be back. And I am back with a reset episode. The reason for this is because we are already in the middle of 2023. And during this period, I love doing mid-year life reset. So I made a YouTube video about this. This YouTube video consists of, evaluating our goals, our current life situation, what new goals we want to pursue, and how we can handle all of this. So it is there in my YouTube channel if you want to watch it and maybe follow the steps or some of the steps, depending on what resonates with you. But today I would like to talk about PhD reset. I am taking care of a cat, so if you hear any weird noises on the background, that's her. So yeah, today I would like to talk about PhD reset, or how I am doing a reset for my PhD. And this could be applied to any job, I think, or at least some of the steps. So if you're a person with a job that is not a PhD, you can still listen to this episode or watch it if you're in YouTube, because I think apart from resetting our lives, it is really important to do a reset on our job or maybe a project that we're working on. The reason for this is because it can happen that we get to a point where we're extremely stuck, and we can enter the cycle of negative thoughts and feeling that we're not going anywhere, or that we're not doing enough, or even that we're not enough for the job or the PhD. And in those moments is when I realized, because I have experienced this, I told myself last week when I was planning my life reset, why not do a PhD reset? Maybe I just need to do the exact steps that I take into resetting my life and getting back on track for my PhD project. and that is what I'm doing. So since I did the live reset on my YouTube channel, I figured why not just talk about this on the comeback episode of my podcast. So let's start. Normally when I do a live reset, I start by doing a brain dump. So brain dump means putting absolutely everything that is going on in your mind into a piece of paper or your computer, your iPad, whatever it is that makes you comfortable for this task. So for the PhD, you can think, or for your job, you can think of maybe all the tasks that you need to do, or any meetings that you need to have. So for instance, what I thought, and for this, normally when I do a brain dump for my life, I do it on my Notion template. However, for my PhD, I just took a paper and I just wrote absolutely everything that was in my mind regarding my PhD. I wrote all the experiments that I need to do, the samples that need to be ordered, the emails of people I need to contact in order to run things. I went ahead and wrote down absolutely every single antibody that needs to be ordered, or any antibody that I would like to talk about with my supervisor for a possible test, and if it works, an experiment. Apart from this, I wrote down absolutely every single analysis that I need to run, and if there are any courses. So I just took the first course of bioinformatics and I want to take the second one. So to put you in the whole picture, so in our university, bioinformatics is divided into 3 courses. The first one is introduction, the second one is called bioinformatics, and the third one is omics data. So I was thinking about, okay, so I just passed the first course, which I am very happy about. What is the next step? Do I wait until the next semester starts and do the second course and then the next one when it follows? Or should I study during the summer, the second course, take the exam in August, and then start the third course in the new semester? And I was talking with my supervisor because this is something important. You need to talk with your supervisor or with your boss about things that maybe you cannot make the decision alone. So talking with my supervisor, he told me, look, you're not going to do a very large amount of experiments based on genetic analysis. So I would like you to focus on the second course, make sure that you do it right. And in case we do some genetic analysis, then we can learn or ask for some help. So in this case, this is something that I really had to evaluate in this PhD reset, because I'm going to be doing experiments, I'm going to be doing analysis, I'm going to be going to class, then I will have an exam, I'm writing an article, and I will have to write a few more. So there's a lot of things to handle, and I just really wanted to make sure that I was making the right decisions. But anyway, I'm just getting ahead of myself. The first step, as I mentioned, is to do a brain dump. And the reason why I always advise to do a brain dump is because this is going to give you a clear vision of what is going on. And it will allow you to make better plans. So another reason why I advise you to do a brain dump, in my case, with experiments, with analyses, any statistical analyses, is because now it's the moment to evaluate the current situation on your research project. So are there any tasks on your research project where you feel stuck and maybe you need help from somebody else? If you're doing a PhD reset because you have been feeling quite stuck, quite overwhelmed, this could also happen because of lack of organization or not the right time management. And this happens when we have to handle a lot of tasks at the same time and we don't really know what the priority is, like, should I focus on writing the article? Should I focus on running the experiments? Maybe I want to do this other test. It's really, really hard sometimes to know exactly what the priorities are of our tasks in our PhD project. And this can lead to unmotivation, feeling overwhelmed, feeling like there's too many things to do, but there's no progress. So even though we're handling all of the tasks at the same time, we can feel that we're not really doing anything, even though you feel like you're running and rushing all the time. Something that I think it's really helpful at this point is to try and remember why you started your PhD or your project, your job. What is the why? So for me, I started my PhD because of two things. First of all, I want to help however I can to make a progress on cancer research. Maybe I won't make a huge finding on my project, but perhaps the person coming after me to continue with this project will. So with every single PhD project out there, there's always some progress. Whether the hypothesis was right or not, you're contributing. So for me, that was one of the goals, to contribute somehow, even if it's just with a little bit of information. And the second goal of me doing my PhD is because I want to understand cancer behavior as much as possible. I focus on living an anti-cancer lifestyle, and I love helping people and giving healthy advices in order to live an anti-cancer lifestyle. So for me, it's really important that I understand how cancer behaves. And that is the other goal of why I started my PhD. And I think it's really important to know your why and write down your why somewhere, so that whenever you feel stuck, overwhelmed, or like you cannot continue, you have this little post-it. If it's a piece of paper, or if you have it in the notes app in your phone, whatever you have easy access, just go to it, read it, reconnect with yourself, and say, okay, this is why I'm here. This is why I am doing this. I'm feeling low. I'm not okay right now, but I will do whatever it takes to be okay again and reconnect with the purpose of this project, this job, whatever it is that you are evaluating. The next step is, I think I mentioned briefly earlier, but really make sure that you ask for help whenever you need. And I think this is something that a lot of PhD students, and I am including myself here, we struggle with this, asking for help. The majority of us, we think just because we're doing a PhD, we have to know everything. And we should know everything. We should be able to handle everything on our own. And this is not how it works. Sometimes we need to ask for help. We need to learn a new protocol, a new experiment, a new technique. There are so many things involved in a PhD project. So asking for help is crucial, and we shouldn't feel embarrassed or like we don't deserve the help. So when you do your brain dump and you evaluate every single thing that you need to do, make sure that you know in what tasks you need help. Not only which ones you need help with, but how could someone help you? And after trying to see how someone could help you, try to find out who the right person could be for that help. The next one is to take action. Once you do this brain dump, evaluation, and trying to see with what tasks you need help, the next step is to just take action. And this is part of the PhD reset. The reason for doing a PhD reset is to let go of that stuck feeling, of that feeling overwhelmed. And the goal is to continue like this as much as we can. You don't want to do a PhD reset if the next day you're just going to enter burnout. Then you didn't do it right. So one part of the PhD reset is to do a realistic plan. And in order to do this the right way, I don't think there's right or wrong way. It's what works for you. But what works for me is to break down the tasks to smaller tasks, and those smaller tasks to even smaller tasks. So I try to break down all the tasks to incredibly small tasks and go from there and go little by little. Another thing is that sometimes in the PhD project, some tasks, and maybe also on other jobs, some tasks cannot be performed unless others are performed. So I like to create, this kind of graph. I don't know if it's really a graph, but, I put, let's say, for instance, that I have to run an experiment for 2 samples. Okay, I'm just making things up. Well, in order to run this experiment, I need the samples, right? So I need to order the samples. Okay, so before running the experiment, I need to order the samples. What do I need to order the samples? I need to find the right person that can get me those samples. So I write on my little illustration or graph, as you want to call it, email the person or find the person, and I create task number 1, arrow, task number 2, arrow, task number 3. By putting what task you need to do before the other task, you slowly get better at realizing exactly what is the priority and where you can start in order to make progress. I really hope that I'm making sense with what I'm saying. Another thing that I have found incredibly helpful when doing a PhD reset is to talk with your colleagues. Sometimes just because you're so involved with your research and you're constantly thinking about your research, it could happen that you don't have any more ideas. And it's not really that you don't have any more ideas, it's just that you haven't given yourself time to kind of like disconnect and then come back. You're just like thinking all the time. Something that really helps is to talk with your colleagues. Whenever I feel stuck, I just go to my colleagues and I explain to them how I'm feeling, how my research is going. And when I'm frustrated, I don't know, with an experiment or something is not working, or I'm about to make a test, but I'm not sure about how this test is gonna come out, they just share their perspectives, right? And it's fresh ideas. So this, even if it's just like, I don't know, a small idea, that could be enough to, how can I say this? That could be enough to sparkle your massive idea, right? It's like, oh, well, why don't you try to do this? Or when you run the experiment, could this thing happen? And then when they say that, you just start thinking, oh dear, okay, wait, I need to think. Right, so what could happen if this happens during the experiment? And you just start engaging with that idea, with that thought. So at the end, when doing a PhD reset, talking to your colleagues can give you new ideas, fresh perspectives, and you can get really motivated from those type of conversations. So that really helps. Another thing is to make sure that you're taking time for yourself. So a lot of us PhD students, whenever we arrive home, we don't really stop working. We continue working. Even if it's just thinking about something, thinking about the things that we need to do the next day, we don't really, even though our timetable says 9 to 5, we don't really finish at 5. We continue with things. And sometimes we even get anxious, like, oh my God, I need to do this because I have a deadline. And I'm pretty sure PhD students are not the only ones. I'm pretty sure that other people in other jobs and other projects also behave like this. It is very hard to stop working. So this must be a priority. Unless, of course, let's say you have your committee or you're working to get a funding. I understand that at some points of the year, you will have some days or some weeks that are going to be incredibly intense, incredibly stressful, and that you just have to work a lot. I understand that. But it becomes a problem when you have that mindset every single day. At the end, you will end in burnout, and that is not healthy. Not only is not healthy, but it is not going to help you to work efficiently or to be productive. And also, you want to be motivated because there's a reason why you started this. And this project, this job, the journey of it should make you happy. The goal of finishing it should not be the thing that makes you happy. The entire process, the entire journey, that is what should make you happy. And I am not saying that you should be happy with this every single day and that everything is going to be beautiful and full of colors and like nothing bad is going to happen. No. I'm just saying balance. Work-life balance is really important, and I myself have experienced this. I'm on the 3rd year of my PhD, and I have had 3 burnouts. And I am not willing to go through a 4th one. And not only this takes willpower and learning to set boundaries, but for me, I needed the help of my therapist because sometimes, to do inner healing and to do things the right way and understand why certain things in my behavior are being triggered, I needed to go on therapy. And last but not least, something that really helps is to look backwards and see absolutely everything that you have accomplished and celebrate them. Even if it's small things. At the end, there are things that back in the day you thought were something that you needed to do, something that maybe you found hard at that time, and you made it. So congratulate yourself for this and make it a habit. Make it a new habit to congratulate yourself for every milestone that you accomplish. So remember, you're doing this for yourself. The journey should make you happy. So yes, I think I have said everything that I wanted to. Remain patient, remain focused, try to enjoy the process, know when you need to take some time off, and try to really make sure that once you stop working, you actually stop working and that you dedicate time for yourself, some self-care, something that brings you joy, and enjoy growing through this process and connecting with amazing people in this research project. I'm gonna say goodbye now, and I will see you in the next episode.
That's it for today's episode of the Health Reflections podcast. If you would like to have more information, you can check out the show notes or go to the podcast section at finolameister.com. I hope this episode was valuable to you and inspired and empowered you into taking action. A reminder that we have a lovely community space called Healthy Life Dreamers, where we share experiences and support each other on this journey. I would love it if you would help me spread the word by leaving a review or sharing the podcast with anyone you think might need it. Thank you so much for being here today. See you in the next one.